With the desert stretching behind me, I squeezed the whip at my side, and felt the gods smiling upon me. Greeting, Cosmos, and welcome back to Spelunky. So, today, as always, I shall start by setting my timer. Yes. There we go. And now I shall go and descend. Ah! Right, I remember why I hate pots now. It's good to have a reminder every now and again. Okay. So, just working my... Hey, wait. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, here's that ruby I wanted. Well, this is a nice and simple opening level. So, lately I've been kind of talking about adding content to re-releases of games. And it used to be that I thought, oh, more content was always good, but as I've been talking about recently, that's, oh, I should have paid better attention. I missed my chance to get a box of stuff. Anyway, yeah, that's not always exactly the case. Like the additional content added for Chrono Trigger DS. That is not... why am I having such a hard time doing things? I would be dead now if it weren't for the fact that I have rescued 2 damsels. Anyway, Chrono Trigger DS serves as an excellent example of why new content for a re-release isn't always a good thing. Huh, I lost my stone. That makes me sad. Okay, so... Ooh, key. Oh, hello. Well, I think Spelunky HD also shows us why added content isn't always a good thing. The worm level, or the castle level, I think those are cool levels, but they conflict with the quest to, come on, brain. The quest to reach the Golden City. And as I've been discussing with a commenter recently, the extra reward beyond the Golden City for collecting the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon, I forget what they even called it. Like, that extra reward is more of a pain in the butt than anything else. Especially since there's no real way to practice it once you get there, because it's so difficult to reach. Oh, why do I keep not getting... Okay. Note to self for the future. Do not try dropping into one and grabbing into one tile wide horizontal holes, and oh my, this is perfect. Really? I should have gone over to the right some more. It's interesting that bombs have... Whoops! have some lingering impact rather than just being one and done. I kind of enjoyed the original Super Mario Brothers, but I was never that good at it, and I have never beaten it. Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels just completely annihilated me. But it is along the lines... Why did I grab this? This is a terrible idea. It's along the lines of one of the things I want for new content for a game. Just more of the same, sort of. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. One of the problems with trying to add new material to an RPG is RPGs are much more heavily story-driven than other games. So, anything new you add has to have some place. Well, no, not necessarily, but it often seems like it has to have some place in the plot. You know, I want to buy some bombs. Thank you. I mean, look at Final Fantasy 1 and 2, Dawn of Souls. The Final Fantasy 1 game on that was, it included 4 extra random dungeons that had nothing to do with the existing plot, and they were just kind of arbitrarily added on. And I think that was just a fine thing to do. So it looks like I'm going to have to expend a rope at... Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, I'm giving up on this item for this run. Anyway, yeah. They were completely unrelated to the plot, and that was fine. Because they didn't force a contradiction upon the plot. I feel like that's part of something important. Like, they didn't force anything that feels contradictory upon the plot. Oh, and look at Final Fantasy X. It had some kind of re-release that introduced the summons for Final Fantasy X were called Aeons. Final Fantasy X introduced Dark Aeons in some edition, in some re-release, and they're around now in the HD re-release. And one of the issues with them is that they block you off from previous areas until you can deal with their millions of HP. I did not... Ooh, yes. Look at that grave. Look at that grave. This grave, right here. It is the best grave. Look at that. I did not really care for late/post-game content in Final Fantasy X. You know, bosses with millions of HP. Actually, that... Oh, I got hit. There is a damsel up above, but I don't want to trade in. I don't want to risk my gun for an extra point of health, and I think that's what's going to get me killed. Actually, anyway, something. I think that's actually a problem that Final Fantasy has been having since, like, 7? Like, I haven't played past 12, but starting like Final Fantasy 7, they started having bonus bosses whose entire shtick was well, no, Final Fantasy V, I think, started introducing the concept of the brutal bonus boss with Shinryu and Omega. But you could beat those with a straight out fight, right? You didn't need a... You didn't need to spend a ridiculous quantity of time level grinding. Yeah, I'm not going for that upper box. That Yeti will murder me. Anyway, if you knew what you were doing and were clever about it, you could defeat the bonus bosses of Final Fantasy V without a whole bunch of ridiculous grinding. I don't think Final Fantasy VI had anything comparable to that. Oh no. I got into a place where I have to use one of my resources to escape. Fortunately, bombs are plentiful. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, right. Final Fantasy V. Good bonus bosses. They utterly destroyed me until I read about how to beat them. But, you know, it's fine for optional bosses to do that. It's less fine for them to... Oh. I dropped a little too fast for a second there because I wanted to go down faster. And it was my... It was my undoing. Anyway, I didn't like the way those bosses' presence wasn't indicated in any way. At least I don't think it was. Well, Omega was on the map, and that's all well and good, but Shinryu was... Am I remembering the name right? Anyway, whatever its name was, the horrible dragon of Doom was just in a treasure... Oh, was just in a treasure chest. But whatever. I think that was the first instance of a Final Fantasy game having a brutal bonus boss. That was fine. Especially once you knew which chest to avoid. I don't think 6 had anything equivalent, and then 7 had... Okay, 7's bonus bosses were actually okay, come to think of it. They just required you to understand the mechanics a bit. On the other hand, the way I defeated them involved grinding for infinite use of the most powerful attack of the game continuously. And Ruby weapon. Ruby weapon, why? The first several times I fought, I had no idea that I was supposed to go in with 2 of my party members dead. I mean, it's fine to expect you to figure something like that out on a brutal bonus boss, though, because the boss is totally optional. Woo, paying down about 10%. Oh no. Why? How do I want to do? Yeah? Yes! Oh my. This is a terrible idea. This was all a terrible idea. Why did I do that? Anyway, Final Fantasy VIII, let's see, had a pretty okay... Nice. A pretty okay bonus boss as well. Yeah, I feel like 10's the one where I started having serious issues with the design of the bonus bosses. Well, okay, so once I'm done with this run, I guess I'm done for the day. I mean, part of the problem was just they had way too much HP. And, well, way too much in the requirements for beating them, I feel. Whew. Okay. Okay. I mean, not only did you have to understand them, but you also had to... Oh, too slow. But you also had to have the stats to pull it off. I mean, that's not completely true. I've heard stories of people beating these bosses without using the leveling... What? Oh, that character got up just as I was walking past. Anyway, yeah, Final Fantasy X, I did not like the design of the bonus bosses. Like, structurally, I don't really care about what they looked like. That's the aesthetics, but just the mechanical design was not pleasant to me. I didn't like it. Join me next time when I try and when I once more try and get down to the bottom from the top. I got closer today than I usually get, and that was nice. But that was because I think that was mostly because I found a cape and a shotgun, two of the best items in the game. See you next time.